I think we're ready. We'll call this Monday, April 3rd, regular city council meeting to order. I want to welcome everybody on this beautiful spring day. We've had so many of them here lately. They're coming. Just call the roll, please.
Kirkland.
Yes.
Ballmer.
Yes.
Ballman.
Yes.
Schott.
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Okay, I need a motion to approve tonight's meeting agenda.
So moved.
Second.
That was a tie. Any discussion on the agenda before we approve it? If not, call the roll, please.
Schott.
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Kirkland.
Yes.
Baller.
Yes.
Ballmer.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, I wanted to say before the meeting started, actually, as we started, make sure you set your microphone close to you and speak into your microphone also, just a reminder. Okay, consent agenda. Tonight for the consent agenda, we have minutes of the March 20th, 2023 regular city council meeting. Payments for contract services, Bolton and Mink runway 1430 seconds, phase 2 construction in the amount of $3,542. Claims register and financials, $412,586.37. We have no licenses or permits tonight. I need a motion to approve those consent agenda items.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second that.
Any discussion on those items? Okay, if not, call the roll, please.
Klein.
Yes.
Ballmer.
Yes.
Kirkland.
Yes.
Baller.
Yes.
Schott.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. City administrator report.
All right, first thing, you'll probably have noticed, and I can't remember when it started, but Bateman Street construction started again this spring. Looking to some other projects, airports, I know is gonna be ramping back up with their dirt work yet this spring and getting ready for some paving to go down, so that'll be exciting. Then, of course, we have a bunch of other projects both in the works and in the planning stages, so it should be an exciting year. So I have a lot to look forward to. Some good news for city budget forecasts, and maybe not so good news for everybody. But new property assessments did come out. Everybody checked their mail this year.
I got it. Yeah.
Today.
Oh, my God.
So I think an average of about a 20% increase for residential assessments. If you did look in that letter with your assessment, there was a nice letter kind of outlining the process and what goes on from the Dallas County Assessor's Office. So just want to remind everybody that the city of Perry has nothing to do with assessments, other than all the hard work and effort we put into economic development. And of course, we had nothing to do with the pandemic that increased property values, but I did have a conversation with Steve Helm, the Dallas County Assessor, and he misses Vicky down at the courthouse, first of all. But he said that assessments were actually closer to a 25% increase, but he backed that off a little bit to be closer to 20%. So it's good news for anybody looking to sell a house, I guess. But you will see that assessment. But I want to make sure everybody understands that an increase in, so a 20% increase in your property assessment does not equal a 20% increase in taxes. Obviously, there's a lot that goes into city council setting a tax rate, the Dallas County setting a tax rate, the school system setting a tax rate. Then there's also rollbacks and exemptions that affect everybody's credits, that affects everybody's assessment, that ultimately ends up with your tax rate. So the assessment that everybody got probably today is not payable until fall of 24 and spring of 25. So it's kind of it's a whole process to go through all of that. So just keep that in mind. If people are talking to you about it, make sure people realize that the assessment that came out today is not what the taxes are starting July 1st. It's a good 18 months behind. So all of that being said, that's just because that went up does not mean that your taxes are going up that.
And
much.
again, just
So-
to reiterate part of what you said, it's not just a Dallas County thing, it's statewide that
Yep.
everybody's are going up like this.
Yep, and of course, the assessor has to follow state code in making those property assessments, so. You can't necessarily just blame the assessor because it's all based off of the market, what the market is doing, and the assessor has to put each property within a percentage of those sale prices, so. Again, in that letter, there's great information, and you're welcome to ask courteous and respectful questions to the Dallas County Assessor.
And you can appeal it, of course, if you
Yep,
so
There's a
wish.
process. for that.
And another thing I used to tell everybody, this is the 100% assessment, and that's all that the assessor works with. That's not what you'll be paying taxes on.
Correct.
Right.
So Susie and I did a little bit of that back of the napkin map today based on like a house's assessment today with the current property taxes, because the property taxes that were due in March were actually 2021's value. So looking ahead to this year's value and looking at what an increase on this value and what the taxes would be with next year's rollback, which is supposed to be in the high 40s, so we did 48%. So it was like a little over 6% increase on taxes, but that also doesn't take into consideration what our health insurance does, our property and casualty insurance does. That could go up 15% or 3%. We don't know. So that was on a level tax, millage rate, all of that, that it was like $200, I think, about less than $200 increase for that 20% value increase. So if you have any questions, contact Steve Helm at the Dallas County Assessor's Office.
And he's a nice guy. He
Yep,
really,
he is.
he really is.
And that's my excitement. Does anybody have questions?
Where are we at on budget?
That's a good one that we'll get to, but high level is that we're going to set a public hearing for the budget tonight for the 26th. And we're looking at a budget workshop to really kind of go through everything, possibly next Thursday, the 13th. If- After pickleball.
Thank you.
So does anybody have conflicts next Thursday? You'll be gone. What day do you leave?
This Thursday, and then on that, late next Thursday. I'll have to check my, time,
Okay,
if it's
well, and we can
like 4
what's the
o'clock on my
14th?
year.
possibility. The budget publication will come out the 13th, but we could meet the 14th as well too, so. Let us know for sure, and then the 13th or 14th after pickleball.
That works.
14th is that Friday.
That's a
That's a
Friday.
Friday.
I'll be here for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plus my plane goes down.
And if anybody has conflicts, we'll knock on. Bet it doesn't. Keep making excuses already. Okay, so let us know. We'll set up just a budget workshop to kind of go through everything for the 13th or 14th. So, but we'll discuss a little bit more. We talk about that, setting the public hearing. Yeah, I think we can talk high level. So,
Anything else for Stan? If not, we'll move on to mayor council comments. I don't think I have anything except to wish everybody a happy Easter and hopefully the weather will cooperate so we can have our Easter egg hunts and things that people enjoy so much in family gatherings. I think that's all I have. Council comments?
I do have one. It was posted on Facebook yesterday from Kathy Stone that Phil has went into hospice. And I think we should have our thoughts and prayers with her and their family at this time. He was a local or former council member.
Phil was a valuable member of council. One negative thing though about Phil and council, he didn't like early morning meetings. I don't know why. But he was a great council person. And he and Kathy were both really involved in city things and volunteering and working hard for the city. And he was a member of Lions and got me involved in Lions. Just a great guy. So we want to wish Phil the best. Thanks for bringing that up.
Mhm.
Other council comments? Okay, if not, we'll move on to open forum. Anybody here for open forum tonight? Again, speakers will be asked to step up to the microphone and state their name and address for the record and be given up to 3 minutes to address the council. Again, you can address anything on the agenda or anything else you want to bring to council's attention. Now is your opportunity. Open forum. Nobody for open forum tonight? Okay. If not, we'll move on to special presentation. Tonight we have a special presentation from the Perry Area Chamber of Commerce Executive Director Lindsay Pizzuti is going to talk about use of hotel motel tax funds. Welcome.
Thank you. Lindsay Pizzuti with the Perry Chamber of Commerce, tonight providing a report about hotel motel, which is now becoming an annual report to the city council on the chamber's use of that 4/7 that is collected. So I did provide a written report. Hopefully you had a chance to at least look at the colors and the color coding, right? Okay. And so with that, just kind of some highlights of that income. So obviously it varies year to year, quarter to quarter. It's a little bit different if you notice some, big changes. We have not changed with that 4/7, but maybe how it's collected and things. So I can't really speak to any of those things, but so as you know, the intent of hotel motel tax is for the promotion and encouragement of tourist and convention business in the city and surrounding areas. A lot of work went into this back in 2005 to get this passed, to be able to collect that 7%. Sean Kenny, have to give a shout out to him right there as far as being a part of that. So that's what you're going to be seeing for our portion of that. Obviously, there's more total collected. So with the breakdown, you see a lot of times summer months are going to be higher than winter months, so that's normal. And that income, like I mentioned, fluctuates a lot. As far as the expenses go, for the chamber's purposes, we have 4 main areas that we focus on with the chamber, destination marketing being the one that we're focusing on tonight with hotel motel, with that tax that's collected. With that, our goal is to elevate the awareness of Perry and outside markets. So some of the things that we do as an objective for that is promoting Perry as a tourism destination, strengthening awareness of our community events and activities that we host for not only our residents, but to attract others as well. And then supporting visitor initiatives as well as new resident attraction. So we do this with advertising in outside markets, those community events, like I mentioned, managing and producing visitor information, and the list goes on within everything else that we do as the chamber. So when you're looking at the breakdown, if anyone needs a copy, you can let me know. But we basically do this in 3 main categories. So this is as the promotion of community assets, strengthening of community assets, and then the chamber operational support so that we can actually do those other 2 things. So those promotion of community assets include advertising for some of our larger community events. Don't need to list those, you're well aware of those, but specifically outside advertising for those. So of course, we're gonna market to our local community, but with hotel motel in particular, we're really talking about that outside market. So we're also printing and producing information like our community guides. The printing of that is not part of the hotel motel. A lot of that is collected with advertisers, but when we're mailing it out to welcome centers, when we're mailing it out to individuals that request them, things like that. And then also maintaining a digital presence with that information, so people can find it wherever they are. We're also strengthening the community assets. So when we're talking about those hotel motel grants, when a community organization comes to us and say, we really could use a boost in this project, we go through a process to be able to support them. Different projects come out throughout the years. So like last year, a big project was a new digital sign. What you see coming out of hotel motel is not the total amount. I wish it was, but as far as what that new digital sign costs out there, a lot of that came from grant writing as well as our own savings, and then use of that as far as a special project goes, especially with kind of having some leftover from previous years. And overall, when you're looking at those expenses, it does fluctuate from years to years, but we're really trying to do a good job of being a good steward of that tax fund to be able to use it for the betterment of our community and attracting of outside folks to our community. Hopefully spending more dollars. It's hopefully a positive feedback loop. We attract people, they come, they spend money, and then that fund grows for us to continue to do more stuff with it. And so looking ahead at 2023, sorry, backtrack. We're hopeful for an increase in that income. So you see that in that report. And then as far as our uses of that, continuing to maintain those three categories, but primarily the new thing this year is going to be looking at that on a quarterly basis to make sure if we set out to spend 25% of that on major campaigns for advertising, we're adjusting that as we see those numbers fluctuate from quarter to quarter. So a lot of talking, but there's lots of numbers there. If you have any questions, let me know. Hopefully I've spelt it out in a way that you can see that report.
Very clear, thank you.
And hopefully we'll be able to continue to do great things for the community as a whole. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to old business. Approval of pay application number 22 for the wastewater treatment facility improvements. Pay application number 22 in the amount of $732,394.18 to Woodruff Construction for the construction of the wastewater treatment facility improvements. To date, total payments requested by the contractor are 72.3% of the total amount of work to be completed under the contract. All documents have been reviewed and signed by the engineer and are recommended for approval. Need a motion, please?
I make a motion, we approve pay application number 22 for the wastewater treatment facility improvements.
I'll second.
Discussion?
It's coming along.
I do know Jacob Aaron's with Bolton Mink is on Zoom. I don't know if he has an official report, but he is unmuted.
Yep, so I am here. Just quick update on some of the improvements done this past month. With the nicer weather, they've been able to install some of the equipment pads outside now that they can get to concrete work. So you'll see some of those external slabs being installed. They have installed the new transformer just south of the operations building. And then they're continuing to do internal work at the operations building, focusing in on that electrical and HVAC. So as far as next month, they'll continue to do some of the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing work, trying to push through here to the end.
Awesome.
How about the pumps that were a special addition to that? We okayed a couple weeks ago. Have they been installed yet?
I'm having a tough time hearing you. What was that again?
The pumps that we approved. The what? The blower motors.
Yeah,
I think they were on.
So I know they,
Yeah,
yep, I believe they're still on order.
they were a few months out.
Any other
And then I do
questions?
know, real quick, Sven, and you might be able to speak a little bit more to this, the MCC cabinet. It was originally July, that the most recent update we did get at the last progress meeting was mid-September is what they have gotten from the supplier on that part. So still dealing with some of the supply chain, but hopefully we're gonna get that piece in sooner than later.
Thank you, Jacob. Any other questions for Jacob? Any further discussion? If not, call the roll.
Walling.
Yes.
Moller.
Yes.
Kirkland.
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Klein.
Yes,
Okay, next item under old business, resolution approving the purchase agreement of a Towing fire apparatus heavy rescue. Towing Inc. has provided a purchase agreement for fiscal year 2022 budgeted fire apparatus heavy rescue. It is necessary to sign the purchase agreement in the amount of $193,843 to ensure production of the new fire apparatus and delivery in the fiscal year 2023. No payments will be made until delivery of the apparatus to the city of Perry. Need a motion?
I make a motion, we pass resolution approving the purchase of the agreement of Towing fire apparatus. Heavy rescue.
I'll second.
Discussion?
So if you remember, a couple of years ago, we budgeted for 2 fire trucks and we did one at a time. So last year, we received our tanker, our new tanker truck. And then just this spring, February, March, they started manufacturing the heavy rescue truck that we had budgeted for. So I think this purchase agreement got lost in my email in the shuffle in the last 9 months. So now that it is under manufacturing, it's time to sign the agreement to purchase it. So
Imagine that.
yeah, so we had already purchased the chassis from Carl Chevrolet and that had been up there. So that's all set and ready and we're just kind of waiting on them to do the final design and then get started. So should be delivered this June yet. So a couple
Wonderful.
months out.
Weren't we talking to the fire chief about astronomical charges that are coming in the future for these trucks?
Yes, so I think that was in discussion on the pumper truck. Which, so part of our budget, looking at increases to equipment and things like that in the last 20 years. But just in the last 10 years, we purchased a new pumper for $400 and some thousand in 2014, 13 or 14. And we ordered that one for 775-ish, somewhere in there. So a 50% increase in just 10 years. And already they were saying, I think it was like each month that we would wait for that, every 30 days, probably a 5 or 10% increase or something like that. So, yeah, just absolutely crazy. But
It is. Like I heard just on the TV news just this morning for new automobiles. Just in the last 2-3 years, they've gone up an average of $12,000. Everything just going up so remarkable. Any further discussion on this agreement to purchase the fire apparatus? If not, call the roll, please.
Kirkland.
Yes.
Klein.
Yes,
Moller.
Yes.
Walling.
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Next item under old business, resolution setting a public hearing date on the proposed fiscal year 2024 budget. This resolution sets a public hearing for April 26, 2023 at a time that we need to decide to on the second floor of meeting room for the Towncraft Building, 1122 Willis Avenue, Perry, Iowa, on the proposed budget for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2024. The Perry City Council desires to inform the public of at the hearing and to receive comments from the public on the proposed budget. Before I ask for a motion, I'd like to throw out that we set the public hearing at 5 o'clock. That way it gives people maybe a chance to get here because it is an important topic, our budget. So if somebody wants to make a motion, including the 5 o'clock or propose a different time, that's okay too, but need a motion.
I make a motion that we propose the time of 5 o'clock on the 26th.
Okay,
I'll second.
and it's just a public
Just-
hearing, but we're gonna throw something out.
Yep, I was just gonna add, as always, the meeting will be available to attend via Zoom. Somebody can't make it in person, and also can always accept written comments as well for public hearings.
Okay, any other discussion on just set the public hearing? If not, call the roll, please.
Walling,
Yes,
Klein,
Yes,
Kirkland.
Yes.
Smaller.
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Moving on to new business. Resolution approving the fiscal year 2022 annual audit report. Iowa state law requires that cities do an annual audit to comply with A-133 audit requirements. And due to the funding received from state or federally funded projects. With the passage of this resolution, it approves the fiscal year 2022 annual audit report for the city of Perry as reported by the auditor's office of the state of Iowa and directs city staff to submit the report as required. Need a motion?
Make a motion, we pass a resolution approving the fiscal year 2022 annual audit report.
I'll second that.
Discussion?
The receipts for fiscal year 2022, which include the city of Perry and Perry Waterworks, were $25,420,589. And that was a 48.6% from the previous year. And then disbursements were also at 25,041,209. And that was a 65% increase over the prior year. And the majority of that was for airport project and of course the sewer, the wastewater treatment plant project. That's why we got such a large increase in the revenues and expenditures. The findings, they, are just about the same every year, mostly about segregation of duties, things like that. And we're working on right now a policy that we're gonna put in front of council, maybe like within a month or two. After we're done with the budget and some other things like that, we're gonna have kind of a policy about how we do all of our segregation of duties now that we have Liz and I up there, and then Emily from the police department is there Monday and Friday, and Vicky is volunteered to help, and so I think we can get most of those hopefully taken care of. Cool.
And
that'll be a first.
and
They'll probably find something else.
and I gotta backtrack. Susie gave me the eye that I forgot to mention something on the budget, which was to talk about the budget. So the budget publication that we'll put out will be published the 13th. What we've put together is a proposed, basically just the levy rate would stay the same at $17.99. So we've done some balancing and had some discussions to get there that we'll talk through at the workshop when we have that, either the 13th, but probably the 14th. So we'll get in depth into some operating budget discussions and decisions that we'll be recommending, and then also go through some capitals and discuss some of those if there's any questions. So we'll go through all of that.
Okay, thank you. Back to the audit report. Any other discussion about the audit report before we approve it? If not, call the roll, please.
Mahler.
Yes.
Kirkland.
Yes.
Walling.
Yes,
Scott.
Yes.
Klein.
yes,
Next item under new business, resolution approving a fire chief of the Perry Volunteer Fire Department. Former Fire Chief Chris Hines submitted a letter of retirement as a fire chief effective January 15th, 2023. And per resolution 011623 on January 16th, 2023, Assistant Fire Chief Grayson Hill was appointed to the position of Fire Chief of the Perry Volunteer Fire Department for the interim. Interim Fire Chief Hill was later interviewed by the Personnel Committee, the mayor, and the city administrator. all of whom recommended interim chief Hill be appointed as the fire chief of the Perry Volunteer Fire Department. This resolution would approve Mr. Grayson Hill's appointment for the position of fire chief of the Perry Volunteer Fire Department effective immediately. Need a motion, please?
I make a motion that we pass the resolution approving Fire Chief Grayson Hill to the Perry Volunteer Fire Department Chief.
I'll second.
Discussion?
He really gave us an excellent interview. I don't think we could find a better one if we looked for 100 years.
And he has really done a wonderful job of cleaning that place up and getting it organized and the equipment in shape and you go in there and you can practically eat off the floor.
He came across as really enthusiastic about having that position and making some needed changes, and I think it's a good choice.
And he loves being a firefighter.
He loves
He
being,
loves it. So, welcome.
Further discussion?
he's very good at it.
Yes, he is.
And
I
very
don't
good.
know, but he looks like a fire chief and his name sounds like a fire chief.
Well, that does it then. That cements it, yeah.
He does such an excellent job of training his people.
He's been doing that for a long time. I think.
Yes, he has. And, you know, he doesn't send anybody into a fire that they're not prepared to go for. I mean, he'll hold them back rather
And
than,
he has respect for the volunteers, and I think they have respect for him, which you really need in a position like that.
Yeah.
The one thing that impressed me is he stated first thing, I will not send a person in to get hurt.
no,
Our main responsibility is keeping our people safe.
Mhm.
Whether the fire goes or not, we're keeping our people safe, which is instrumental on being a good fire chief.
absolutely.
And I think it was interesting too, that he talked about yesterday and today, as far as our furniture or wooded floors and everything, that they go up so much faster. And he was today,
Today,
yeah,
yeah.
than
That the old stuff.
the old stuff, an old couch that could smother and go out, but
Yeah.
not the new furniture and stuff nowadays. It just goes up so fast. That was interesting.
We had a hell of a time getting that old house of mine
Oh,
lit. And it burned like crazy once it got going.
Going.
But it was tight.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? If not, call the roll, please.
Wally,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Bertland.
Yes.
Smaller,
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Okay. Next item, resolution setting a date for public hearing on proposal to into a general obligation loan guarantee agreement. This resolution would set a public hearing for April 17th, 2023 on the second floor meeting room of the Towncraft Building located at 1122 Willis Avenue, Perry, Iowa, at 6 p.m. to receive public comment on a proposal to enter into a loan/guarantee agreement in a principal amount not to exceed $350,000 as security for a loan for Nedger's Kern Manager LLC for a project in the Perry Urban Renewal Area consisting of remodeling and improving a building located at 1314 Second Street. Need a motion?
I make a motion to pass resolution setting date, public hearing, total in the general obligation loan guarantee agreement with the ledger. I'll second.
Any discussion on setting this date for the public hearing?
So I'll just give a little bit of background. Obviously, this is just to set the public hearing, but this is for their current building, which we, I guess, affectionately refer to as the new Perry Chief Building, which is now the old Perry Chief Building. But State Farm Insurance is in there. So they were on a 5-year note and that 5 years is up. So they're looking at renewing a note. And so they have been working on that and we're just going through the process of re-upping it. Hopefully, in the process of renewing the note, they also were awarded the grant for the next project that they're working on. So the hope is to be able to work on that, do that project, sell it, and put some of those funds into their loan on the first project they did. So hopefully that would reduce or eliminate our loan guarantee on that, but that is the ultimate goal, is to remove that guarantee. So, And hopefully they'll be here at the next council meeting to give an update on where they're at.
Okay. No further discussion on setting the public hearing date? If not, call the roll, please.
Berglund.
Yes.
Moller.
Yes.
Yes.
Schott.
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Thank you. Having no further business before us tonight, we stand adjourned at 6:34. Yeah, thank you. Have a good evening.
I don't know yet. You have something for those.
No, shouldn't have. I might be a little.